Welcome to this ICF Slalom podcast episode, part of the series running until the Paris 2024 Games. We bring you the inside stories from around the globe from the people who make canoe slalom so special. Here's your host, John Gregory.
Thanks for joining me for the first podcast episode of the 2024 Olympic year. Described as an eternal student of canoe slalom on and off the water by members of British Canoeing, today's guest is Dan Goddard, who over more than 25 years I have witnessed go from standout paddler to a podium at a 2010 World Cup race before establishing himself as an analytical coach. He was among the first to paddle both K1 and C1 before settling into international competition in C2. Here is my conversation with Dan Goddard.
So I remember you and your dad coming to Home Pierpont from, I think it was the South Avon, Bristol area. Yes, you were around 13 at the time when you joined National Development Squad for winter training in the mid-90s. You also remind me of Owen Reinish, I have to say, in the fact that both of you were always the first on the water, last off the water. You did twice as many runs as anyone else. I mean, what do you remember of those early paddling days?
Just absolutely loving canoeing. Just wanting to be on, as you said, be on the water all the time, whether that was K1, C1, paddling, dabbling in C2, still in those early years as a junior. I just loved being on the water. I think I came from a swimming background. So I think I've always loved water and, just being out, having fun, just canoeing and, never wanting to get off. And it would often be my dad kind of dragging me off to get off rather than me voluntarily wanting to get off.
Okay, well, you'd put in 10,000 hours at Home Pierpont, and you were still a teenager.
I guess I came from a white water background. I didn't start in slalom. I started kind of running rivers down in the southwest in Bristol. Yeah, I just loved being on the white water and kind of, flat water was a bit boring. So I loved being on the white water. Okay,
well, it's been amazing to watch you over a 25-year period start out as a paddler. Yeah, as you say, you've done K1, C1, C2. Yeah, I mean, you've had a World Cup podium and now established yourself really as a very analytical coach.
Yeah, I think I moved into coaching when I finished paddling in 2012, moved into coaching then. Wanted to give something back to the sport and also just, again, loved being on the riverbank and wanted to still be involved in paddling. I still go paddling from time to time, but not competitively anymore. But I just wanted to give something back and just love being on the riverbank still.
You're a talent coach for England.
Yes.
What does that mean? Can you what does that entail?
It stands for England National Talent Coach. Essentially, I coach the junior team or the English members of the junior slalom team, some potential members of the junior slalom team. So basically that's, guys that are 18 years old down to guys that are kind of 16 years old, both men and women. There's also a couple of under 23s in there that we also support, that we think that have kind of potential and can make the under 23 team in a couple of years. But essentially it's coaching the junior team and junior prospects in the next couple of years. There's also a system in Lee Valley that does the same. So that's Adam Johnston. He basically covers the south, and I cover the kind of central and north regions out of Nottingham, and he covers it in Lee Valley.
But as you were saying, I mean, it's wonderful to see Home Pierpont remain that important venue for slalom. I mean, even with the development of Lee Valley, you and others have proven that Home Pierpont is a still very viable and important course and training environment.
Yeah, I think with it being in the middle of the country, there's good access for lots of people. Stone, a big canoe club, is very close. Home Pierpont is starting to get some more members in. There's a little initiative in Nottingham to revitalise Home Pierpont and get some of the younger kids paddling again. There's two good universities close, so lots of people can come up for education and still paddle. And it's open normally all day, kind of every day. So obviously there's less cost there with pumping water. So it's a really good facility.
So let's talk about your paddling a bit as well. I mean, you paddled C1 and C2 at an international level. You took medals. team medals at Senior Worlds, including a silver European Championships. That was in C2 on your home course in 2009 with Colin Radmore. I mean, that puts you in very good stead, I think, in terms of that then coaching. I mean, you've been there, you've been at the top end.
I look back on that journey as an athlete, and again enjoyed every moment with it, with some good successes. I was definitely happy when I essentially retired in 2013 that yes, I was never a world champion, never went to Olympic Games, but I think I was on the senior team for 10 plus years in C1 and C2 over those points. In 2009, did C1 and C2, and was on the team for both when the opportunity arose to be able to double up. The only thing I kind of regret now is being able to triple up in C1, C2 and kayak cross. That would have been good, but obviously kayak cross came in later.
An incredible career. Yeah, I mean, Nick Smith, you also paddled with in C2 as well. I subscribed to your website early on and then your Instagram posts. I mean, I've been watching your very practical, analytical technique. I would say more recently, you seem to have a setup at Home Pierpont for kayak cross, which I've noticed those kind of newer videos. Again, from the videos, it seems you are analysing the most effective ways to do upstreams in the plastic kayak cross boats. Tell us more.
The reason I've always been on YouTube initially, and then moved over to Instagram more recently. Even when I was just doing, when I was a paddler in slalom, I would make videos, all the time. A lot of that was to document progression, kind of my progression, and send out kind of cool clips of canoeing and let other people enjoy watching those clips. I always enjoyed making them as well. I guess more recently, there's been less kayak cross footage out there. There's obviously the races that are broadcast now back on YouTube, but there's not that much kind of training footage out there. Some of the Swiss are putting some footage out, but there's not that much out there. So I wanted to put some more kayak cross kind of footage out there for people to watch, people to learn from. It also gives my athletes, something to watch. And some of the younger athletes in the UK, some videos to kind of learn a little bit more about kayak cross as it's still growing and developing.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, a lot of the video out there is just of races and that sort of presentation showcase, but it's not kind of analytical or helping athletes necessarily learn and train.
I guess we've got the gates now in Home Pierpont. We've got enough to have a full race course. Trying to leave them out on the bank so they are visible to the general public as well. So I think that we're trying to organise a couple of kayak cross specific only sessions that the public can also get involved in. And I think that the public are quite keen for that. We're also getting a ramp in Nottingham, which will be fun. There might be some video of that coming out shortly. Obviously, we can't get a bridge necessarily across the river, but we've got kind of a portable ramp kind of system that's been developed that hopefully will be installed at Home Pierpont shortly. So that'll be nice to go off a ramp. I've been off the ramp at Lee Valley, and that was fun. We did a ramp session at the weekend with the talent guys and my Ents group at the weekend in Lee Valley off the ramp. So that'll be good to come off the ramp in Nottingham, certainly over the summer.
Yeah, I look forward to coming. It's been a while since I've paddled there too. Talking of Nottingham and video, showing how old we are, in the very early days of National Development Squad, we were still using video cameras with VHS tapes in them. So it must be crazy for you in the fact that we now have video on the boat, on paddlers' helmets, and now drone as well. Are you making use of that?
Yeah, it's so much more portable, and easy to use. I guess my dad always had his video camera out, was always videoing me. I always enjoyed watching and learning from the video that he took. He'd also video others, and I'd watch that. I remember always getting home at night and just sticking on the video and watching that session and watching anything else that I could. I remember always going into British canoeing offices and speaking to Alan Edge and trying to get any video of seniors as well. So I was always always kind of clambering, trying to get footage and watch it. So I guess YouTube now, I think it's just and Instagram is just a brilliant way of sharing all that information. Recently using a lot more GoPros and a GoPro 360 on the helmet, and a lot of that was just certainly in kite cross to kind of I wanted to show kind of how to overtake a little bit more in kite cross, where sometimes on the bank you only really get one angle rather than using the GoPro 360 and then kind of editing it. You could kind of see where the boats were being placed to get a successful overtake. And again, it's with the I haven't used much drone footage. I'd like to. Obviously, there's certain rules about that make it a little bit harder, but in the UK. But I'd like to do some more drone stuff. That could be the next step. But definitely, cameras on the side and GoPros, and even videoing off the phone at times it makes video so much easier to capture and upload to YouTube or Google Drive or wherever it needs to be.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think it was Gareth Wilson that described you as being an eternal student of canoe slalom, and it couldn't be more fitting. It's very funny. This conversation seems even more timely with the formal launch of What It Takes to Progress Athlete Program. I'll ask you to explain maybe a framework and video series. It was also nice to see Great Britain's men's Olympic K1 athlete Ian Raspin introducing the series and providing the video commentary. I think Ian won a World Cup gold at Holm Pierpont in his day. I think it was 1994.
Yeah, I guess the reason for that, we as a group of talent coaches kind of got together and were discussing what it means, what skills are needed for athletes to progress up our pathway. Once we'd kind of got a lot of those factors in place, or those key kind of principles in place, we wanted to share them. The best way was we thought was to make a video. Rasbo kind of spearheaded that, took the lead on that, produced a load of videos to basically share with our British coaches, some concepts, and then at the end some potential coaching tips and tricks to be able to enhance their coaching and just put ourselves in a better place for everyone to progress. I think it was just nice to put that online and share that with as many people as we could as well.
Well, I think that's important. I mean, you've made them freely available. I mean, they're not locked down. I mean, anyone can kind of access. So I might include a link to them in the show notes. So many people, particularly outside the UK, maybe some inside the UK, probably very confused. You're a talent coach for England canoeing, but you're wearing British canoeing top. Can you explain the link between British canoeing and Canoe England?
So essentially, British canoeing, you could argue, is the kind of the umbrella organisation, and then under that we have England, Scotland, and Wales, and Northern Ireland to a degree. So basically, yes, British canoeing is the kind of parent umbrella organisation, and then each of the home nations has got its own entity, essentially. So yes, it does get a little bit confusing to potentially other nations. We're only responsible technically for England, but I think we all work together because once you get to a British team level, it's Britain. So we all work together in that.
Yeah, I mean, you're all trying to put people in either Great Britain junior team or Great Britain under 23 or even senior team. So
yeah, just interestingly around kayak cross, when I first watched it, didn't really appreciate it too much, actually. Kind of looked a little bit like people just bashing into each other. But I think since I started coaching it, for now a couple of years, and the skill level has increased massively, I've realized it's not just people bashing into each other, certainly now, and there's a lot of different tactics and techniques involved. And once I've started breaking that down, I've realized how much there actually is in there, and that's really given me an appreciation for it. I guess because I came from a whitewater background as well, I was in plastic boats before I was in a slalom boat as well. So that being on whitewater in a plastic boat kind of probably has rekindled my love for canoeing a little again. And just being on the white water in a plastic boat was quite fun again. And racing against other people has been good. I haven't done any races in kite cross, but again, just enjoy paddling and passing on that kite cross stuff to.
Well,
to
you can
other
certainly
people.
see that the athletes that are competing, they enjoy it. I mean, they genuinely they enjoy it and they'll look forward to doing it. Yeah, I would love to paddle a kite cross race. I haven't done one. I would love to do one too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think going into maybe Paris Olympics, which is obviously important this year, then yeah, I mean, potentially it will bring a whole new raft of attention and interest for people into canoe slalom and Homepipont and Lee Valley and whatever paddle sport they then take up.
Yeah, that's again, I think just that exposure, getting people to watch, the buzz behind the games. Hopefully we can get some more people into Nottingham, out of that as well, which would be good.
I mean, it's wonderful. I'm so delighted. I remember the 10,000 hours that you spent at Nottingham in your teens, driving from the southwest, and it's wonderful to see you still in that area, so invested in the canoeing, and that you are absolutely giving back, and as Gareth said, an eternal student of canoe slalom. So thank you for everything you're doing in that area and for those paddles.
Yeah, I guess I live in Nottingham, now, and on the bank every day, coaching and supporting, and honestly, I wouldn't want to do anything else with my life. Just absolutely, love it.
That's great. Thank you very much, Dan.
That was English national talent coach Dan Goddard talking to us from Nottingham, UK. Many of the athletes are in the Southern Hemisphere: Deodora, Allain, Reunion, Vero and Penrith. Australia qualified an Olympic quota spot in C1 men through the Oceania Championship. At the back-to-back Oceania Championships and Australian Open, we saw strong home Australian result. Wins for Jessica Fox from Australia, Jiri Priskovic from the Czech Republic, Lucas Rowan from the Czech Republic, Martina Wegman from the Netherlands, Lucienne Delfour from Australia, Marjorie Delassus from France and Tristan Carter from Australia. In kayak cross, wins for Jessica Fox, Mathurin Mador from France, Marjorie Delassus and Timothy Anderson from Australia. Thanks to my guest today, Dan Goddard. Always exciting to be at the start of an Olympic year with National Federation selection and remaining quota spots up for grabs. Only by June will we know which athletes will be racing on the Wasserman course in Paris, starting at the end of July. I'm John Gregory. Thanks to Aidan Johnson for continued help with sound editing. This week, I'm joining an interactive forum hosted by Dave Royal and Gareth Wilson. See you on the bank as we prepare for the Olympics in Paris. Stay safe.
That's it for now, but please subscribe to the podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Audible. And please don't forget to share and leave a review too. In the meantime, keep it fast and clean.